I'm going to call the St. John Township Board Annual Meeting, January 27, 2026, at 6:07 p.m. Can you please stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I just need to make one correction. It is not an annual meeting. The agenda was set incorrectly. It should be from that Township Board meeting.
Okay.
It's the annual one, which is right, the first Tuesday after the first meeting.
Okay. All right, we're going to move on to roll call.
Roll call, Lisa Elder.
Present.
Mike Quigley here. Eric Spanish. Stephanie LaRue. Adam Celia.
Okay, we're going to move on to our fire department reports. So we have our Lake Hills Fire Department December 2025 financial reports and our December 2025 calls and EMS reports. Our chiefs are not able to be with us this evening.
No, they had, Chief Mahalik is, sick, and, they need, to help and take care of the fire department. Looking at their,
Yeah.
Now that you notice that we have down to two, this basic thing, Becky.
Yeah.
The cash available on each of those, on the, fund balance sheet is, the equal,
Okay.
Yeah. Small.
But they ended the year with 775.
So once again, when you look at the policy, we have a lot of people on the ALS, which, again, supports that,
Yeah.
important is that we got that ALS.
Correct. I'm going to go ahead and accept the Lake Hills Fire Department December 2025 financial reports and the December 2025 calls and EMS reports as a matter of record. We're going to move on to the Fire Department 2025 fourth quarter from Chief Bill Martin, who is not able to be with us this evening.
When it's broken down by month, so how many calls are in.
Yeah. So I will accept the Dyer Fire Department 2025 fourth quarter report as a matter of record. We will move on to Cherville. This looks like it's a fourth quarter, it is a 2025 fourth quarter report as well. And the response is found to 1,038 fire EMS related calls.
But they had 18 of them were, unincorporated, and Dyer had, 20?
But their annual was 4,143 fire EMS calls for 2025, which 82 were located in unincorporated.
It was totally,
That's a lot of calls.
yeah.
Tremendous. Okay, no questions or comments. I'm going to accept the Cherville Fire Department 2025 fourth quarter report as a matter of record from Chief Robert Patterson. We'll move on to our St. John Fire Department 2025 May through December reports from Fire Chief Shane Adams.
And if you recall, they had people switching over and they were having issues with software, and so we hadn't received it until April 25. length of course, and then before you are, the last two things are filling unincorporated, areas in downtown from May through December. And we'll just put these all in there, like how that.
Any questions, thoughts, comments? Okay, I'm going to accept the St. John Fire Department 2025 May through December reports as the mayor. We will move on to our trustee report.
Yes, so two things to get you updated on. There are two bills over there's one in the House and one is in the Senate. And the House bill is called House Bill 1315. It's, as the Indiana Township Association says, it's primarily says it's an elimination bill. They want to have townships that are ineffective, that they are good to, and I asked Adam, and he did explain more about the House bill, but it is basically that they want township government, services provided by us to go to the counties and to board the counties. And by June 1st, this decision is supposed to be made during one of those. As respectfully as I can say it, is that instead of looking and saying, okay, there are some that are ineffective. They don't submit their annual reports that are here before you. They don't submit a regular budget. They haven't provided assistance in 2 years. How do you address those? But they don't. They just look and say, we want to just get rid of as many townships as possible, and their bill would take about, we get rid of around 600 townships, and we're a little over that. Do you want to explain this particular thing?
The House bill, yes. So it's HB 1315, authored by Representative Tom, authored by Christine May, who's chair of the local council, and Brian Lauer. Those are the sponsors. It's been referred to Ways and Means, also benefits, and it's also referred to.
Yeah, I was going to go into that.
Okay.
As long as I get a handle on what the bill is about.
Yeah, so now as for the bill itself, you actually need a pretty good synopsis. So the only townships exempted are the Marion County, or townships that are already or townships in the county that have agreed to consolidate into single township for the permanent. All other townships will be subject to. So what it provides is exactly it. Right. By June 1st this year, you would have to make an election whether you want the county or the municipality to take over county services. If you don't make the election, the county is defeated. Whatever you do elect, then it requires a committee essentially to form by this board and the designee to receive it to either the county to decide how to transition to it. And then after that, either the town or the county would take over county. The deadline for that. So that's essentially what.
So a few of the terms, one is if it's a population under 6,000, you could be affected by this. There's, Terry, do you know what the other, Terry, Terry, population 200. Oh, that's it. Of your township is 200% above what you paid out for wages. Your employee, your township assistant is supposed to be 200% higher than your employee compensation. And if you are and this is what Adam, I had asked if you could read more into this. If you are a township that's mostly incorporated,
At least 80% of the total area is located in corporate town.
of a single or multiple?
It says any municipality. So, but I think it doesn't have to be the same. As long as it has a municipality, it needs to be, so like one town. Was 100.
You would then have to be incorporated by the town.
Yeah.
With the township government.
Or, there's a fourth. Number one is about 80% of the land, or 51% of the population.
So, that's the house. Now there's a bill that went for the Senate. Senator Niemeyer, who knows township government, he has worked to author a bill, SB 270, that makes sense. It's a common sense bill about somebody who knows what they're talking about. And I'm sorry, I did it. House, go back to House Bill 13. There are people testifying against, in favor of the bill over township, such as the Indiana Chamber of Commerce. They are in favor of this bill to get rid of the township government. What do they know about township government? What do they know? People that testified. There was a mayor from, I don't know if he was from Carmel, or he was passionate against this bill because he said, I know what services township provides. Well, now you go to the Senate bill, and it's by someone who knows township government. Here's the issue. Indiana Township Association recognized it at our last legislative conference last year. They discussed this with us, and they said for 20 years they've been talking about township government that's ineffective. So what do you do with it? And they recommended the point system, which is all of us trustees in the county agreed to it. But agreed, it was a good plan. That's what Senate Bill 270. If you get 4 points or higher, you are required to merge. Not get rid of township government, but to make it more effective. So out of the 4 points, these are some of the criteria. Have you provided township assistance in 23 or 24, 2023 or 2024? If you didn't, that's either 1 or 2 points. Have you provided an annual report? If not, you get points. It's based on 23 calendar year 2023. If you have not filed a regular budget, you have to, this is something you would do. And it's an 8-point system, and it's a very good system that in the event you come and you have 4 points or higher, then you have to be within the same county, you have to have your township touched. And then one of those, say it's three townships, and they have to merge. One of them will be the same, the main one. And it's not based on population, it's based on efficiency and townships doing their work. 8 criteria. 1 point, if the township does not actively manage a fire protection or emergency medical service within the township. That's a little gray, but technically this is the one area we get one point, because we don't manage it. But the argument is, Senator Niemeyer said that we look at that, maybe do an amendment. Lakeville Fire Department completely depends on the township funding. So we don't manage it, but they're completely supported by the township. Number two, 1 point for each year that a township did not file an annual report for 23 and 24. So now that could be 2 points for us. 1 point for each year a township did not file all required monthly upload reports as required by State Board of Accounts. 24 and 25 for each year. That's something that's very good. She uploads every month the bank statements that's required. She uploads our, she can go and upload our report, once they're approved. 1 point for each year that a township did not file an annual budget with the DLGF. 23 and 24. 1 point for each year that a township did not file an annual budget, let me see, 1 point is the sum of township assistance applications received by the township in 2023 and 2024 is less than 24 township assistance applications. We had over 300 of them. 1 point for a township that has an adopted budget of less than $100,000 for calendar year 2025. So you can see, it's a common sense. It makes sense. If you're not providing assistance, you're not providing the services, then the best thing to do is promote. And we, so they had a hearing on this at the House. It was the House hearing, and I chose to go down and testify against the bill. It was Tuesday the 13th. And the ITA did have someone that they hired. He actually used to work for DLGF, so he was here on behalf of the ITA to say we are not in favor of this bill, and the Senate Bill 270 is a better bill and it achieves what the issue is. So I went before the committee as well, and I started out by saying, I am here, I'm a trustee, and I explained to them we're about 70,000 up in the county. Our township is around 70,000. We come from a county of about 500,000 and half a million people. And I think it's important that they hear from a trustee who has a township that's running efficiently. And I went on and I said, I understand your issues. And I said, and I don't only represent my township. There are other townships in the county as well across the state that are running their townships efficiently. We file our annual reports. We do a budget. I said, and I don't know what else. I had a bunch of stuff typed up, but I didn't read it because it's not me. I wanted them to hear. I could read anything I wanted. And then I said to them, we understand there's an issue. We understand that there's a problem. And you have to do something. But you're looking at the townships that are not running efficiently. You have to look at the townships that are doing our job. I said, we are here for the people. And I said, I work with the police, I work with fire, we have stopped evictions. And I said, and so what I'm here to say before you today is, I understand you have to do something, but to not vote for this bill that's before you today, and to vote for Senate Bill 270 if it comes out of the Senate, because it's a good bill that solves the problem. And so it ended up, and I pointed out Representative Smith. I don't know if you know that, Representative Smith Hal Slater has most of our township. Vernon Smith has a portion of it. And he's got Ross Township and Putnam Township. He was on the committee. We had a picture taken up and he invited me into the chambers to have a picture. So he was there, he voted against the bill, two other representatives did, and it passed at 93. Afterwards, Representative Smith showed me a report that he received from the office, Township, Representative Township. Mr. Smith, Representative Smith asked me why, he said, I don't understand why your township is so low. Your township is decreasing. So I had asked Sandra to print me off the last 2 years, and so I had the numbers in front of me. And one of the numbers, Representative Tom Weiler gave was the employee compensation from our 100-hour report of everybody, which was around 300,000 for 2024. Then she said our township assistance was 74,000, and I did not give her the exact number. I said to him, well, those numbers are true, but it doesn't represent the entire picture. So I explained to him that employee compensation that you're looking at. I said that includes everybody. There's a hall, there's a cemetery, there's a bus, I said, you look at that $100, there's only a few. Can you see where the township assistance, we got paid out of the township assistance fund? And then I said, yeah, line she can do? Yeah, that's true. That's what we paid out of township fund. But because my budget is so much lower and we have people coming in with $5,000 bills, what to stop evictions, the staff works with other resources to get that money to stop those evictions. So if you take that, what we actually paid out, and then township benefits provided through other sources by efforts of the township staff, you're a little over $200,000. It was like 214. And I said to him, and I said, so that does not give you the right picture. He said, I recommend that you email her what you told me, and that you and you can tell her I recommend that you do that. And I said, wonderful. So got this email together. I sent it to her. I sent it to Representative Smith. I sent it to Representative Slater, Senator Now, and Senator Meyer, and so that they knew what I had said. And if you take our compensation, and $100 shows exactly that. It shows custodian, it shows bus driver, it shows rec director. The whole thing. And I said, if you look and take what we put out for township assistance staff and our township assistance provided in both categories, you're just under 200,000. But that's not what because they don't know what they're looking at. They don't know what we're doing. And I say that as respectfully. So anyway, I went, and since then I had Senate bills passed. There were IT members there, trustees that went to, it was, so the House bill was on Tuesday. It's more of a hostile group, to be honest, and House wants to get rid of township government. And the Senate bill, if you watch that, it was the following Thursday. It was authored by Senator Meyer, Senator Gonzalez on it, who voted because this bill was passed. Only one opposed it, because he didn't know enough about the bill, wanted to talk to the. But if they didn't pass it that day, it was passed. So they passed it, it went on to the next committee, it passed there. So it passed there. I've spoken to Representative Slater about this, and he said he felt the Senate Bill 270 is a better bill. Him and I spoke about this point system last year, and he said that he does not plan, even though it went before the Ways and Means, it went before the Ways and Means. That's the House committee. It went for the Ways and Means in the House. It's about financial. When he did this, I voted yes, it was just about that part of it. It wasn't the overall bill. So he did tell me that he would not, he would, if it, so there's processes, right? It might get passed and go to the House floor for a vote. If it passes there, it has to get a hearing in the Senate. Doesn't mean it's going to pass. And if it doesn't, then it's not. The better, and then the Senate bill will go to the House and then they can put out whatever amendments they want to. So this is really kind of big stuff. I want to let you know before you, I gave you, I didn't find them, my wonderful staff presented me with me being quoted in a couple articles. One was for the House bill and took my little blurb of, I see that there are ineffective government, in effective township. If you look at the first thing that was on the third page, but what she did was kind of twisted what I said, or took what I said. She got my name wrong, spelled it completely wrong, and said another township trustee criticized the responsiveness of local officials. When you look at some of the townships, you see that they're ineffective, said, and she spelled my whole name wrong. They don't even see people or they don't answer the phone. And that was just that little word. I understand that there are ineffective pieces of government, right? And that's what I told them too. My office, our office, we're open 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. I'm on call 24/7. We're doing that job. The next one was someone that reported and he quoted me properly. He said exactly what I said. He said during the hearing on House Bill last week, voted down in favor of the Senate Township Bill. We recognize the need to do something, but to remove this grassroots form of government, I think we need to do that. So my recommendation to you is I think that all of these candidates are representatives and senators, and let them know that you're going to do and that that's a really
No, not that I'll see. The more I read, I do believe we will qualify. And
Qualified for
for the
resolved.
dissolve. So, because I'm sure we need to 51%. And then imagine Lake County government. Our interest, our state. But this is not good.
It will be exactly. Bottom line, for those people that we serve, it would be a disaster for them. They're not looking for people at all. When you, me, Terry, Sandra, when you know the stories of what they do for people, it's a grassroots government. And it would be, I think, to say, my,
what's the underlying motivation for
Perceived government. And
but without looking at all the
no, because these representatives come from our chief rural districts, where you have townships, you have houses, and who's trustees, drawing salary, work. I mean, they look at that and they say, well, they're not voice, generally, those cases, not right. But they're not thinking of townships that are or most of them, Lake County, that serve a broad sweat of services. For the state. They go to our person. And they live in, consolidated city government, but they're not considered us. And I think you go into those fire counties, you'll find the same story. Township needs to be there to provide this head level of government that cannot easily replicate.
And when I started out, I also told them, I've been involved in local government for years. I said, I was my 8 years as trustee. I said, for 7 years, I've done a town board and council. I know the difference. I know what I'm talking about. And there's a difference. And so when Representative Smith asked if I thought of the, everybody at the time, didn't know the bordering 51%. So I said, I don't think we will. I said, but even if I wasn't here, I was still here. And this is what in perspective, there's like 650 townships that have less than 100 population. Some of them have 200. So that is out of the 1,000 townships. There are 650 that are very low population, which is why and when last year, at the time we wrote the bill again about townships, and it was Representative Karen Engel. Anyway, she was off the bill, and again, Representative May was the chair of the committee where he was started. And so they met with us, and he had said, well, in my township, we can't even get us to the board members for us. Well, you don't have a problem. And you can't compare, and that's where I was quoting, I was trying to say, I understand the violation is, but this is silly. You get rid of all of it. So that is that's my whole report. I would recommend this kind of have our representatives as well as our senators. I posted this on my personal page, Facebook page, and then the same to senators for and I did comment on representatives for the town. I don't know if you guys have any questions, but yeah, the first thing in town, and we voted in favor of this house bill. He did other stuff.
Apparently, you talk to city and town council that are already strapped for the funds for this thing, but now we have much more work for responsibility.
And it could be because they perceive that we're sitting on all this money. You guys see the money we're sitting on. It's not all kinds of money, and we accomplish what we accomplish with the small budget we have. It's ridiculous to even sit here and without having the tax make
Which is funny, because the townships that are most likely to be sitting on the funds are rural ones where there are no municipalities that'll get the money. You need it now.
and God, comments? Oh, no, I have
I
one
did
more.
watch the Senate hearing, with you, that, when we watched it. My general sense is, that the House bill is being delayed. And what it was.
And here's the other thing I wanted to say. It's also passed, 1315 passed. He said, I'm in this county, a county of around 80 townships, something. He said, I have 6 lives. He said, that bill scares me to death. Because they're getting rid of all counties. So that's that. Here's the other thing. I just wanted to let you know that I actually, somebody that I know that is with Indiana University. No, and he connected me with somebody who actually does this mobile lawn screen. And there's no cost to the township whatsoever. They will come, they set up the appointments, they just wanted a site in our township. It was somebody that actually is from the room, our township, we have this in the township. And we thought about having this truck come out to the park. So we solidified this, and they will be here and set out in the parking lot. So.
You think going back to the, or you think they'll have you more? If I were to go, Senate bill, I would have to.
I told Terry's like, I said, I was so.
But I think that's good, and I think I hope you do more than
I don't know, thank you. I did have the conference with the director, who executive director, oh, that's right. And I went, and I just said, I told Cody, these are area, coordinators in the area, these are the senior. Cody, I'm going, I'm not that I need to testify. And so she watched it and she sent me the text. She said, out of the park. She said, you did an excellent job. And someone else from the board got me.
I don't know how the sausage is made down in Minneapolis or any legislature for that matter, but in the private business, these are over pros and cons of these proposals and look at it for a while. I've done many sides of many people, different sides of the community. This is what I just heard. One side of it didn't seem like it's, I'm thinking about it. And the real city maker nitty-gritty, the real numbers, like what we were talking about, the benefits provided outside of the township. Things of that nature, and other things. To your point, there's 67% of counties that maybe it's a good idea to do something. But what about other counties, like you said, in South Bend, Evansville, up here, and how it benefits real life stories, right? Real life convictions that were presented, things like that I hear about all the time, from my perspective. So it seems very narrow-minded. I don't know if people put bills up just to get the name out, or do they get publicity? I don't know how.
Well, so normally what would, anyone, any legislature or they're allowed off the wall. What will happen though is it'll get first and second year to the first committee. The committee is where the scrutiny comes out. And if it's one of these that the legislature consider a lot of people, the committee will table it for consideration. You know, be brought up. We didn't do that. We had asked it. So, this is going to go to, what's within Ways and Means. Ways and Means. Because it will have. Then it will get us. The other curious thing is that so every bill starts out in its initial version, and if something wants to get added later, after that first week when the bill is filed, it has to be by amendment. And typically you'll see, you know, 30 of amendments before the grading period. You didn't see that in the front. So it's going to advance by for so
So from here, the word is passed, and I believe they can take testimony when it's on the House floor as well. Am I correct with that? Before they vote?
it's, now I know Congress does, I don't know if it's state house does, where the whole house actually committee. I don't know if it's Congress, but when it comes up for a floor vote, it's just voice the view.
Which is what representatives for the testimony, but that others were asking, including some, from the IPA as far as, what he's doing, what in something, and, they said that, he said that he but I think he was sort of confident to me. What I said, and I think then if the word is passed the House, it has to go to the Senate for
Or it goes to
committee.
the same process.
It would be the local government,
Yeah, it has 2 readings in the first reading.
and that is the committee that has the Senate. That nine one. They passed it, so they had a number of they said, one of the senators said, also, so the chair had, and Senator Buck, who's been in, the government for a long time, he said, there's some conversations about township government and what to do about it, the ones that are infected. And he said, I have to say, this bill is the best bill I've seen in all these years. And it's a bill that everybody's agreeing on. You've got trustees testifying in favor of it. You've got the Indiana Township Association, and you have senators. It's a good bill. It's a good bill. And it's a concept. So, with that being said, Senator Buck is the one who has the chair of the committee who chooses whether a bill is first or not. Is that correct?
That's
So, or if it even does get heard, if there's a vote.
I think it's voted now.
Right. And that's what's behind it, so that's really big stuff going on.
Okay, I'm gonna move on to our second report.
Well, most of what I get is the text work, you know, no idea when our free will be. Provided.
Move on to our board report. Anything from our board? Okay, we're gonna move on to old business. Approval of our December 15th, 2025 board meeting minutes. Get a motion.
With a motion for approval for December 15, 2025 board meeting minutes. Motion.
All in favor?
Before, I hear this, I apologize. On page 4, I just wanted to make something note. Under the 2025 nepotism certificate, I stated that, the nepotism certificates go into each of our files. They're available for stakeholder accounts to review, which they have in the past. But I said we did upload it immediately. I just want to let you know that you see on page 4, number 10, I had stated that uploaded immediately. And I just wanted to make that correction. It's in the minutes, I said it, but I want you to know that that was an incorrect.
So they're just basically in their file.
Yes, and state what
For state
that's reflected on the audit.
Okay, so nothing else.
No.
Okay, so the motion has been made, had a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 3-0. We're gonna move on to our approval of our January 6th, 2026 board meeting minutes. No.
Motion for approval for January 6th, 2026 board meeting minutes.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 3-0. We're gonna move on to new business. The first one being December 2025 financials.
And that is perfectly. Come down to the both the one the structure unit and the structure and all of the things. And
So I will accept the December 2025 financials as a matter of fact. We'll move on to our township assistant reports for December.
And again, you know, we had, you can see that the number of requests was lower than the month of December, but they still, which is what I mentioned before, the number of requests for benefits provided from constitutional funds was, 1,643. However, the total value of benefits to Essex Township staff from sources other than township funds for 2,253. And what we have is someone today, is coming in with like $5,000 rent, $3,000. So we help people that qualify to not feel about this gap working.
Can I, there's something in addition to, the assistance that was provided and approved, and then the assistance that is given by other entities. What about the assistance that we work on, but is denied? So there's need, there's issues, but there's not qualification, but there's activity. The activity of the staff is still working it's not like you're not working and you're trying to find ways, probably, or, you know, within the rules, then it's denied for one reason or another, maybe they didn't complete the application or not. So there's still activity associated with the denial. So, you know, you look at, you had talked about how it's measurable. Notice.
You know what, that's a great point. It's still for that staff to go through the proper process. Yes,
So you gotta really look at cases and how much time it takes. Cases, some are more harder than others, more difficult. How many cases came in, or how many applicants came in? They lived in here, they had issues, and the result may vary, but regardless of what you've done, you can do that work.
Or education, and get them back on track, help.
yeah.
Even if some systems can't be still are helping when they may not have a monetary.
Providing another value, another
Yes.
monetary value.
That's exactly right.
So benefit.
Correct.
Great point, and I have met with different applicants to try to get them on track. One that just came in today, or not this week, I just said to them, okay, we're gonna, because of a situation, they do have to come up with, she will have to come up with some money, and if she comes up with that, we will help with the balance. However, there's an issue, and I just said today, I will be meeting with her, and we can meet and honor the township assistant director. We'll meet with her to give her, to try to give her that hand up rather than that hand down, because otherwise it will just be repeated over and over. We provide a service, and by statute, we are able to do that and tell them they must go to a program of help. You can, by statute. So you're right.
And some
They're all
cities are not going to do that.
So if they're gonna evaluate like 2x, and, you know, assistants compared to salaries, okay, that's nice to go out there. Then you gotta look at everything, and you're gonna go that route, you gotta look at all the activities associated with all the things you're doing in regards to financial assistance, the ones that get denied. The ones
Instead
that
of
are
just a
others.
title. That is that.
So maybe if we didn't have testimony in the house, you don't know. Because you know what, you do have very
Where it's the,
Is there anybody to, very, I don't know if it's in that, that would be. Ones that are worth some money.
So this report at the end of the year, when we file the annual report, is for the year, it's posted to our meeting program. The representative, pardon me,
I still like to know one of it. Okay. That's
and
something.
this was because the IPA met with legislators, I believe, 16, maybe years ago, when they were trying to do this. And the IPA worked with the legislators to provide this report that says other business laws stuff. However, we don't believe that the House bill, they really took this report into consideration.
Well, she took line, she took number 5. I think she did. She took number 5, but that's where I said it was line.
And didn't look at line 7,
Didn't look at line 7.
which
nor-
tells you clearly that's the biggest number on there. The problem is it's just a number, it's not a breakdown of what all that is. They just overlooking.
Not only that, you know, who really, who
I
knows
agree.
this report? You can look and say, oh, obviously, these are what we're provided. You don't know the report, you
Exactly.
can read into that in order to your point. It took effort for someone to go through the process of employees to deny it.
the staff here that you go through you go through the protocols, and then you have meetings, and phone calls, and decisions, but that doesn't get recorded as a system. And so some legislature looks at that and we just, what I want to use, break double. Another word. Not truthful.
So really, the clear picture would be 5, 6, and 7. So the total amount is done on something is not enough. Really saying what
Right.
that's what I was saying. Is there any way to market that?
Well, these are the reports, we have to report in, unfortunately.
Well, and this might be something that you might want to think and maybe get more clarification on this.
Right.
Because it is part of our annual report, so, but if people are not understanding it completely, that's,
I don't want to say, is there any way to get a subtotal from 5, 6, and 7? You're already 25 cents, regardless if it was outside or inside funds. Just to show like what you guys really do, that's something we can learn.
Or even know where those outside funds are coming from. So $42,000 is a lot of money. It can't come from one source, it has to come from multiple. Which means that the township director is spending lots of time having to negotiate those things with different companies and different organizations. And making agreements to be able to come up with that. I'm here for just the number. It doesn't tell me, it's not the overall.
and those organizations know that the township is vetting people too.
Correct.
And they're taking our word that those clients are being vetted and they deserve this assistance. So,
And we're just in a time where a lot of people are more than people.
Is there anybody who can force that? Really on that? Out there? Get it out there.
it's a matter of public interest.
But no one looks at it, that's my thought.
Well, there's, in time, you can make a separate referral list, so like the Cherville Civic House does. We put in the referral of Cherville Civic, how much, and explanation about what it's for. So I can make a detailed report of everybody Cherville Civic House from a certain amount of time. But I have to find out if being able to cover that, obviously, the client and not know, because I probably have to separate. But there is a way to distinguish that. With the referral.
So out of this $42,000, well, how many different organizations do you have to work to gain that type of fund?
So,
Approximately.
we got churches. The main ones, like four. Or, yeah, now, mind you, you got, the Christmas party in that room. Schools and high schools in that too. But,
But that's still your
it's
work,
just, right, yeah.
all the coordination. So here's the thing now, so they go through, now they find something, go and they say, okay, you can help this person. And see if you have an organization, they contact them, are you willing to give something? What do you guys say about this? So this is township, when the township says if they pay this amount, then we will help. Okay, then let us know if they're gonna pay that amount and what the township does, and then we'll go ahead and try it. So it's multiple times to, okay, get back to us, let us know before they do it. So, you all of these great, this is the effort, we talk about the effort that we go through, but it is the part of the thing that we have.
A lot of the agencies, most of the agencies rely on us for our vetting. We have other agencies with different applications, but they don't vet the way we do, so they ask for more details from us.
Anyway, then,
Okay, so I'm going to accept the township assistant report for December 2025 as a matter of record. We are going to move on to the 2025 year-end township assistant summary report.
okay, before you is the year end, so January 1st to December 31st. behind that are some numbers. And I wanted you to have a copy of what's handwritten. And Terry is here, I asked her to come to explain this because, you know, I'm very particular about wanting our numbers as accurate as possible. And when I got those numbers from Revenue, that was handed out from Revenue, on Flyway, Terry began to look at this report a little more detailed and started and looked at what we actually dispersed out of our township fund. And so I'm gonna let Terry, she's got the numbers before you. We made adjustments to the report that we believe is more accurate. Gives accuracy to what was actually done.
So we're gonna reach out to the software company because I think there's a little discrepancy in their programming that not all of their assistants that they're actually paying out of the township funds are going over to this report properly. It's not huge discrepancies, but there are some discrepancies. So, as I was further looking into this, we also noticed some things weren't actually getting on to the report that they paid with, their Chase credit card, or if they paid for it out of, the township assistance unspecified gift funds. So those were not making it onto this report either. So the reason why you'll see the numbers is evident right on there.
Yeah, they have the red red.
Were the ones that we actually had to physically manually enter. And so Kathy just wanted to show you guys why we changed those numbers from her software system.
So what's the 13 plus 12 equals 25?
So that was, gas cards, two separate kinds. And they assisted 25 families with those gas cards.
So then the total families assisted was 216.
Correct.
Okay.
And so if you go down, and so you'll see on mine, it's 5, but then it says 3A. The 61,648 was actually dispersed out of her township fund. But this is where I was trying to explain, I believe it's a software glitch, just something is not getting over. So that's why we changed it to the 61,648. I think she needs really documents for that.
Yeah. And that will be permanent record.
So even though it was dispersed out of the township assistance, for some reason it didn't make it to the report. So we're going to set up an appointment with the software company to find out where the discrepancies are coming from, that something that they can change their programming to get to the accurate numbers.
So, and if you look at the first one, the budget report, you see like line 11, anyway, so I'm gonna find out line 11 is the software number that on 6, sorry, 6 Roman numeral 1, that's for the state. So anyway, so you'll see where those numbers were plugged into the report, and then you'll see where from fund will be
So the only question I have is line 19. Those numbers don't match on either one of those forms. Well,
19 out of one we're looking at now?
Well, the corrected form is less than the one that's on the other thing. So it looks like the one that was printed last,
Oh, you're right. So
it should be 75 or
Yeah.
yeah, it should be the 55,567 plus the 98,000. Good catch.
And then read your final report.
okay, now.
Doesn't matter, I saw that.
On the filter.
And I know you as well as me, so all of you will go.
Yeah, so we're all signing up.
I hope we all sign off on that. And so, I always say one report, 1 month, 1 plus 1 plus 1, right? You got the January report, February report, it should all add up to your end.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I'm going to accept the 2025 year-end township report as a matter of record. We're going to move on to the 2025 100R report. Any questions?
All right, so this is what I was talking about, that she took total compensation from. And if you look, under job title, it's got all the different job titles, not any of them have to be assistants. If you look at the department, that tells you what line they were on. Out of all those, there's only a few that are supervised. So that is what the author talked about. So you can say, so this report is uploaded in the gateway, and there's no questions that are uploaded. Part of the requirement here is also. She does a fabulous job.
Okay, we're going to accept the 2025 100R report and the questions as a matter of record. Move on to the 2025 annual financial reports.
Now, this is what uploaded in the statement, once the board approves it, is your big annual report. So this report, once it's approved, this is every activity throughout, once it's approved by the board, we will all sign off on it, and then a copy of this is brought over to the auditor's office. And then you can retain a copy of this, as well as all of our portions of our check stubs. There's a couple things I want to point out on this report, on page 19. Third from the bottom, it says cash in our fund, $600. It was a check written out for cash, which in, cash in our fund. And I don't know how many years ago, but the board of accounts that said that if we here, what we have to do is receipt in our guard, and that we have to guard, you have to receipt it back in at the end of the year to prove that you still have that money. We receipt it in, and then in January, we then go ahead and write out the cash. We get that $600 in cash. And that's that one. The other thing I want to point out is on page 17, You see that there was a payment made to committee to elect the amount of $250. And I want to, there was, let's see, on page 20, at the very top, there was a $200 charge expense paid out to then on page 21, committee to elect paid what I want to point out is he had rented the hall for an event he was looking for. We can rent it out for any first one, we just had it, over that. So he paid the $200 deposit, and then he paid $225 plus that last one I showed you, $1,575 plus gas. He decided to cancel his event. So he had a refund of $200 deposit paid, and he had a refund of $225 in all rental, in addition to that. So we have all rental papers, documents that he canceled us receiving his payment in that first that. But I just wanted to know, you see that, I wanted to express why. Okay, well, they that and that's public. Do we need a motion on this?
Is there a motion to approve the 2025 annual financial report?
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Okay, we're gonna move on to correction from 12/15/2025 meeting. 1782 notice of notes report pay 2026.
So if you look back, at the agenda and the motion, it said 1782 notice report pay 2025. Said that on the agenda, that was the motion. If you see the supporting document, it was written and motion voted on stating it was
Okay, so the correction from 12/15/2025 meeting minutes. The 1782 notice note reports pay 2026. And we're gonna accept that as an error. We're gonna move on to resolution 2026-01, resolution adopting revised township assistance guidelines.
Yeah, so, as you know, every January, we have to update our township assistance guidelines. The categories are income, and it's based on 100% of the 2026 federal poverty level. Food allowance, it's based on, food assistance, that we're able to give based on, the SNAP benefits. Household essentials, that's, anything, those are not covered by, SNAP. But we do the same dollar increase in non-essentials as was given to, based on this map benefits. And then housing, and this is based on the, HUD, their, fiscal year 2025, fair market rents. And what we do is we look at those and then you take all of the, the zip code in our township, and then you find the median, and that's where you focus on. And then burials, this again is found on the FSSA guidelines for burials. So this is just updated for 2026. And interestingly, actually hasn't changed too much. So this you're going to be seeking a motion when I can vote.
Make a motion for approval for resolution 2026-01, resolution adopting revised township assistant guidelines. Motion.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 3-0. We're gonna move on to resolution 2026-02, amending salary resolution for budget year 2025.
So we did not approve this, we did not approve the salary resolution until December, and I didn't catch this until, starting to put in the pay rates for employees for 2026. And what I want to point out is actually this is affecting the custodians, which, you know, we have everything. The custodial part-time rate of pay, that hasn't changed. And we did have a, weekend custodial, part-time rate of pay. That hasn't changed. What happened was, we started having the custodians also work as officers. So during the week, and I added this line here, if they work as custodians plus they're the hall coordinators during the week, it allows them to have up to $1 more per hour because you're assuming other people. When they worked on the weekend, we and the weekend custodian allowed them about $1 rate difference between the weekday custodian and the weekend custodian. And they got an extra $1 on the weekend. Well, now, when they assume the weekend custodial plus a hall coordinator, it now should be $1, we put in $1 more, because not only is it the weekend custodian that they're doing an extra $1 compared to the week. And now they're assuming the hall coordinating responsibilities as well. And without that last one, it didn't allow that compensation of $1 more. And so if you look, weekend custodial part-time, that rate, of $19,000, the weekend custodial plus hall coordinator go up to $20. Does that make sense? So it just allows that, them to have that. I don't know.
Make a motion to approve the resolution 2026-02, amending salary resolution for budget year 2025.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Number 9, we're going on to resolution 2026-03, ratifying emergency services contract.
Excuse me, I don't see any fire conflict.
I have a, yeah,
You have a resolution, if you don't have the fire contract before you. Maybe you have that copy before them.
I mean, if we approved them, as long as they were signed, they were approved by the towns the same version we approved earlier.
Yeah. It'll take a minute.
If you, let me put it this way, if you want them we can get them, but I don't think they're required because they were signed by the town in the same group. that we sent them. So if you're comfortable with what you were saying, group,
Okay, would you like a copy of these then? They were all the same, with the same agreement,
All that.
that you saw.
Well, they all signed off.
They all did.
Well, I'm fine.
Okay,
So let's just get a motion.
Make a motion for approval for resolution 2026-03, ratifying emergency services contract. Okay.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Kathy, number 8, going back one step, the agenda has the budget year 2025.
yes,
So you need
And make
to,
an amendment.
yeah,
To that 2020.
oh, the salary resolution, 2026, the agenda says 2025.
Okay.
So-
make an amendment.
Make an amendment to, right, Adam?
oh, wait, the resolution is approved.
Yeah, but it made the motion to accept resolution for budget year 2025.
Yeah, because it says on his budget year 2025.
During the approval, I would just, you want to make a motion clarifying that
Yes.
you were approving what was written.
You want to say it?
All right, yeah, but then you, the motion would be, to clarify that, resolution 2026-02, was for budget year 2026 and by in the original.
So moved.
One of these, you or I or, so,
Because it's sure.
Fine.
second,
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
How
Motion carries 3-0.
many board members?
Okay, we're gonna go on to our next resolution. They're all starting to blend together now.
You're almost done.
Okay, resolution 2026-04, ratifying community service agreements for Blue Envelope Program.
yeah, so I was able to go for, I told you about that blue envelope program last time. I was able to go before the Dyer and John, in December. But by the time we went, we had the agreement together. I had already gone for the community. We had to wait till January, and this was just passed, last week. And so once the board ratifies this, we'll move forward with getting everything printed and distributed. And, we will do, to the best of our knowledge, is
Awesome.
Make a motion for approval for resolution 2026-24, ratifying community service agreement with Blue Envelope.
a second,
All in favor?
I,
Aye, motion carries 3-0. Citizen input. Any citizen input? Okay. Any and all other business that may come before the township board? You're so pretty. Okay, our next scheduled meeting of the township board to be held Tuesday, February the 24th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank